Ladies and gentlemen, welcome, welcome, welcome. You are now tuned in to the TKB Report. I'm your host, K. Langevine, and today's guest is most definitely a friend to the show. He is an author extraordinaire. He has published 2 books that speak to the pride of where he's come from. One being Hey Tuskegee, as he is a proud alum. Another being Hello Grandma, as he is proud of his heritage, being from the Bahamas. Ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming Mr. Robert Constant.
Yeah. Ski. See, that's how it's done. Where's my towel? Since we're not gonna be going to homecoming, you gotta get it in somehow.
This gonna be your homecoming right here.
I know that's right. You gotta make the best of what you got.
So let me ask you, man. When I asked you about your intro music, that's something new that I'm trying to get to.
Yeah.
When I looked it up, every video that I saw was the students seemed to show a tremendous amount of pride when that song came on.
Oh, yeah.
Speak to me about your experience being a Tuskegee alum, being from the islands. Speak to me about your experience, as a young scholar trying to figure out his life attending Tuskegee University.
I tell you, Tuskegee is incredible because when you're coming from a city and then you go to Tuskegee, I mean, you're talking the rule of the rules. But it's like you're in a time machine. It really is, because you get to campus and you're walking around and there's just this feeling like something big happened here. Like you just know it. And then once you obviously learn a little bit more about the history of Tuskegee, who was there, there's this pride. So that's what you see in the video. What you're seeing is, undergrads having a great time at a game, but that's the Tuskegee spirit. When you're walking around, I got on my Tuskegee shirt now. If I walk around and I see another person from Tuskegee, or they see me, man, we gonna see each other like we've known each other for years. We may not have gone to school at the same time, but that's the Tuskegee spirit. People just love the school and they love being around each other. And being on campus, there's a pride, and it's a pride in the history. And it's a pride that says, this is what excellence looks like. And you can set that bar as well. So I think we're all very proud of that. And we're all trying to mimic that excellence that came before us.
All right. So before going to Tuskegee, what was your knowledge of Tuskegee? And did you know of the rich history that Tuskegee had prior to you, stepping foot on campus?
Yeah, I was fortunate because we had some Tuskegee alumni in our family. My cousin was a veterinarian. He came out of the vet school, which Tuskegee educates every 3 out of 4 black vets. So if you see a black vet, 75% of the time they went to Tuskegee, because that's what we do. We train some of the best vets in the world. But I knew about Tuskegee not only through him, but also my great grand aunt played tennis at Tuskegee when black folks couldn't play in the other tournaments around the country. So they would have these tournaments where African Americans, the best tennis players in the world, would get together and they would play. And Tuskegee was a place that hosted a lot of those events. And so I was able to find that information out, and it's like, man, I had that connection. So I'm not saying that was the only reason, but it's one of those things that you feel like, well, if it's good enough for my family, it's good enough for me.
All right, so with the history being so rich, right? Was
Mm-hmm.
so Tuskegee has produced some great great people that have gone on to do some amazing things
Yep.
in all walks of life. With
Yep.
the history being so rich, did that add any added pressure for you to excel? Like, is there that attitude of, I'm walking amongst the ghost of Tuskegee past,
Mm-hmm.
and or is it the presence of Tuskegee past? Like, another question I wanted to ask: how does Tuskegee keep the legacy of their alum alive? And do they do a great job of that? And does that add to your zest and your motivation to excel?
Yeah, I think we do a good job of keeping that tradition alive. In fact, I would love to see us just do more of that. When I've worked at lots of different institutions across the country, and you know, some of those places got a lot of history, and nobody ever says we should stop talking about Thomas Jefferson at the University of Virginia. Nobody says that. When you walk on campus, you see his name, you see, I mean, you know that this was his university. You get that at Tuskegee. But what I'm saying is, I would love to see that in our marketing materials. I would love to see that in brochures, online, constantly talking about the excellence of Booker T. Washington and what that represents. So we do a great job, but I think we could always do more in that respect.
I,
Absolutely.
I was looking up some past legends
Mm-hmm.
that attended Tuskegee, and some of them I didn't know, like Betty
Yeah.
Shabazz
Yep.
rather,
She was there. Yep.
uh, Lionel Richie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Who
That's
knew?
Tuskegee through and through. He Tuskegee through
Um,
and through. Yeah.
uh, uh, Keenan Ivory
Tom Green.
Wayans,
Ken Ivory Wings. Yep. Absolutely.
and one that you speaking about a vet. I'm about to tell my age and maybe yours too. Uh, Danielle Spencer,
Yep. D
aka D
D
from
D.
What's
Yep.
Happening. And if
Yep.
there's
What's
anyone
happening?
who was born like in the 80s and 90s, they may not know
Yeah.
anything about what's happening.
Yeah. They don't
That
know
was
about.
one of my favorite shows.
Yeah.
Favorite episodes when she told the guy that it was Jackass Meat. The Jackass Meat episode was but
D was
yeah,
cold, man.
yeah. So you guys have had, and now you can add Robert Constant to the list of many greats that have attended Tuskegee, um,
That's what we hope to
because
do, brother.
now I want you to start talking about the book Hate Tuskegee and how that came about.
Yeah. The book Hey Tuskegee, I think, has been in my mind for a number of years. I've always worked with colleges and universities, and many of those universities had children's books about the university. And every time I would read one, the first thing I would say is, man, they need to create something like this for Tuskegee. I would always say that until I got to the point where it was like, they? Who is they? Like, why can't I do it? And I think the only thing that was keeping me from doing it was just fear of, would Tuskegee alumni embrace it? Would people go, this guy's not a writer? You a fundraiser? What you know about writing? And then, the opportunity came where I had some time and I said, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and do it. And I took a weekend and wrote it. And then I started to do some more research. And that process turned into like a year-long process of me just, interviewing alumni and friends and scholars and reading and just trying to get a sense of how to write a children's book for such a prominent university that people just love. There are people across this world that I've met. I've been walking around with Tuskegee shirts for over 25 years, and I'm telling you, I see people from around the world who are like from Germany, and they're like, "I've been to Tuskegee." Like, how did you get to Tuskegee? And it's like, "Oh no, because I wanted to see the Tuskegee Airmen Museum, or I wanted to go see Booker T. Washington's, home, or I wanted to go see George Washington Carver's, um, where he did all of his experiments." And it's like, wow, you
Wow.
got people from around the world coming to this place just to be part of the history and to see what it was all about. So that was scary, taking that on.
So there's something that you're leaving out, and I want to say that that's a bit of flossing, but I get it. You wrote that book in a weekend.
I wrote the initial piece in the weekend, and
Okay.
then I took it took about a year to like get it right.
Okay.
Get it right. Yeah.
And with you writing that book, getting that
Yep.
big book published, that was a trailblazing experience because if I'm not mistaken, that's the first of its kind,
It's the first officially licensed children's book.
children's book of its
And
kind.
so, yeah, so the university gets 10% of every book I sell.
Mm.
Yeah. So they're getting something back. Um, we get a chance to promote the school. And I think that's what I don't say is, yeah, I wanted to create a children's book, but I wanted to create some marketing material, really. I mean,
Okay.
that's really what it comes down to. It's like, this is something that you can give to a library, you can give to a school. Everyone can buy the book and either keep it or give it away or read it to kids. So you're spreading the history and the passion and the spirit of Tuskegee. Like, that's what I wanted to accomplish. And we're slowly but surely doing that, which is great because I'm getting alumni, I'm getting friends who they'll send me pictures of their kids reading the book and singing the songs. And I'm telling you, every time I get one of those, it's like it make you want to cry, man, seriously,
Well,
because you go, I mean, if somebody would have said, man, Rob, one day you're gonna write a children's book about Tuskegee and people gonna like it, I would have been like, I don't see that happening, but it happened, and we've done well with it. So Tuskegee people support, man. That's really what it comes down to.
well,
Without them supporting and we've been driving around the country, and you get people who just they'll be like, "Let me get a box of books," and you like, "What? Do you?" You know they $15 a piece, and they're like,
yeah.
"Yeah, let me get a box."
Let me
You're
get
like,
that. Let me get
"Oh,
that.
okay."